Okay, so this video is about Charlie Kirk. I posted something the other day and I basically deleted it because I was angry, and that's not the kind of content that I want for my channel. So that's why that video was gone. This one's going to be a little different because I just want to talk about what's actually important. I'm going to get straight into it. The main thing that people would criticize about Charlie Kirk as a human is that he was pro-Israel. And first, I just want to say that was one of the things that I disagreed with him on. When he was alive, I was aware that he was pro-Israel, and I believe that Israel has a negative effect on America and the world. I'm not anti-Semitic. It is a geopolitical matter of their government. So the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, their government, the IDF, and then their intelligence agency called Mossad. So that's really what I mean when I say that I'm anti-Israel. These things are complicated, which is what I want to talk about. So during his life, he was pro-Israel. He died at the age of 31, which is pretty young. And you got to keep in mind that Charlie Kirk grew up evangelical Christian and was always around conservatives. Not saying that he didn't think about his opinions, but a lot of that was kind of put in his head. And I believe that he was a real believer. So what I mean by that is, I don't think he was grifting or lying when he knew that Israel, I don't think that he was lying on purpose about Israel. I think he believed what he was saying. And the evidence for that is that, I'm not going to get too much into this, but you can look, it's all over X right now. For a long time, not recently before he died, but for over a year before he died, he was saying things, kind of changing his mind about Israel. We'll just say that. So that to me is evidence that he really believed it at one point, because I think he started asking questions. And then people's response to him asking questions made him go further and take it further. And I'm not going to get too much into that. But basically what I'm saying is this. These things are complicated, and it's possible to criticize Israel. It is possible to not like what they're doing in Gaza and just in general, and to be against that. And to also have a positive opinion of Charlie Kirk. They don't have to be mutually exclusive. So I'm saying just because I disagreed with him when he was alive about something, and yeah, it's heavy. You could argue that being pro-Israel when they're doing what they're doing is complicit in a genocide. But ask yourself, if someone hasn't come to the same information as you, because I'm not trying to get too opinionated here, but I believe that the people that are still pro-Israel probably just haven't come across the same information as us. And that if it was delivered the right way, they would change their mind. If someone is still at that point where they haven't changed their mind and they haven't been given the right information with the right delivery, okay, because I'm not talking about people that are lying. People that are lying and they know they're lying is a different category, right? Grifters. For example, Laura Loomer. I think Laura Loomer knows exactly what's going on in Israel and lies. That's different. I don't think Charlie Kirk was that. But even if, are we still going to cheer for someone getting shot and killed? It's just worth considering. So basically what I'm talking about is distinguishing between, it's like this. You couldn't say that every American is Trump. A lot of Americans hate Trump. And when Biden was president, you couldn't say that every American was Biden, because a lot of us hated Biden. So associating Charlie Kirk with Israel itself is just intellectually flawed, okay? But what's important is this. These things are really complicated, so I believe that what happened was both a psyop and real. And what I mean by that is, it's probably engineered. They probably picked him for a reason. He was a spiritual person, a very positive person, and like, yeah, his debates got fiery and he would just tell you what he thought, but he was overall like a positive person. So they probably picked him to take him out because of the emotional impact it would have. It's a high impact event. One like we maybe have never seen before, because with the political assassinations that we really remember culturally, like JFK or MLK or something like that, we didn't have the internet. So this is like a unique situation. What we have to keep in mind is that there is some kind of setup here. So there is some kind of desired outcome or desired response from us. And when I say us, I mean the people who just, not just Americans, but people all over the world who are going to react to this. We need to figure out how much of that is real, because it is real. A person really died that we really respected, but how much of it is engineered and how much of it is a setup, and what do they want us to do and how do we not do that? I would imagine the two desired outcomes that I could think of is that they want a lot of hate. So they want us conservatives to like hate liberals now and think that they're all trying to kill us, and so we need to fight back. Like, that's one thing. Be careful about that. That's all I'm going to say. Don't let yourself fall into a rage and just freak out. The other one is despair. So how I mentioned they picked him for a reason. They picked him because he was a spiritual guy, a positive guy, pure guy. Because, I mean, even if he was wrong about some things, he believed what he was saying. He wasn't a grifter. He was the real deal. He was a believer of what he was saying. So they picked him because it's extremely emotional, and it can cause despair. It can cause you to feel like, dude, what is this world, right? Which is justified, but you have to keep telling yourself that, like, that's what they want. So the good thing to do, in my opinion, is carry the torch. And what I mean by that is Charlie Kirk was about dialogue, and he was about being able to debate and also saying things that we know they don't want us to say, whoever they is. There's things that they don't want us to say, and you should say it anyway. If you really believe it, you should be able to speak your mind regardless of the consequences. And so carrying the torch means speaking your mind. Now is a good time to start a YouTube channel or to be more vocal in some way, because if enough of us speak about it, they can't bully us into not talking about it. Like, look at Candace Owens. Candace Owens has been speaking her mind, and she's doing just fine. In fact, she's bigger than ever. And also, when I say carrying the torch, like, Charlie Kirk talked a lot about the founding fathers, and it's similar to the Israel thing, in my opinion. Like, people will be like, well, the founding fathers had slaves, and it's like, yes, slavery was a thing back then. The entire world did it, and America kind of, I don't know, abolished it. I don't know, fought a war to abolish it. You know how many white people died fighting to abolish slavery? Yeah, listen to what I'm saying. Like, if this is like offensive or crazy to you, like, you are fucking crazy. White people died to abolish slavery. Even before the Civil War, when things were heating up with the abolitionists and they were getting like radicalized, basically, abolitionists, okay, white men, maybe women, but I know I've read about specifically white men that were abolitionists walking up to slave owners and like shooting them in the face. Not saying that that was a good thing, or like that I'm not saying to be like a fucking radical political assassin. I'm just saying this idea that like, oh, the founding fathers had slaves, therefore they're bad, is like really simple. Like, you should think about how simple that is and how complicated real life actually is. Because guess what? If you're watching this, you're not all good either. You're not 100% good. I'm not 100% good. So, yeah, with the founding fathers thing that I brought up, I keep saying that they picked him for a reason and that there's an engineer's response that they want. You know, there's a lot of people that feel like, let me just address something. The whole thing I said about the founding fathers and slavery. Let's check this out. Right now, there's a narrative, there's a belief in the collective consciousness that, you know, white people have like killed everyone, enslaved everyone, colonialized and all this stuff, right, that were colonists. And it's like, yes, like, we did that, and I don't like what we did to the Native Americans. I don't like a lot of the things that the American government has done throughout history and that they're doing right now. But let's be clear, every ethnicity has done fucked up shit to, like, every ethnicity. So the Native Americans were killing each other, tribe versus tribe. Africans sold each other into slavery. Europeans definitely killed Europeans. We all know that white Europeans killed the fuck out of a lot of white Europeans. One of my friends said the other day to me, you know, World War I and World War II probably, like, almost extinct white people, if you think about it. White people killing each other. So basically what I'm getting at is this idea that white people should feel guilty and that white people should not be proud of their ancestors and their heritage is bullshit. I'm proud of the Founding Fathers. I'm glad that that's my history because the Founding Fathers stood for something. If you read the Declaration of Independence and you don't see how it's profound, you're unintelligent. And the Founding Fathers had a profound impact on humanity. Like, if you think that you should hate them because they owned slaves, like, maybe you should think about the impact you've had on the world. Like, who have you helped exactly? Please tell me. So this idea that we can't be proud of the Founding Fathers, that we can't be proud of being of white European descent is crazy. My ancestors did some bad things. I don't like what we did to the Native Americans. Like I said, I don't like a bunch of stuff. But a lot of these other ethnicities, look into their history. You think that they, like, never did anything that's kind of like, damn. Like, ugh. Nothing? Ever? Let's just be honest here. Life is complicated. It's not simple. And yeah, so more about what Kirk represents. It's that demographic that's been, like, basically okay to demonize, you know, white people. We need to just be careful. We need to start just treating each other like humans, because this is how people get radicalized in the other direction. Okay, so we've seen what happens when we go super far left. That's been the way we've been going for decades. And we know historically from further back in the past what happens when we go too far right. That's not good either. Hold on, I need to drink water. But the way that you force people, and sorry, I'm, like, sick. I have COVID. But the way that you force people into these radical ideas is by hating them relentlessly, okay? So if you want to see a bunch of white people become, like, actual Nazis, keep doing this. Because that's what you're going to get, and it's going to be really ugly, man. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see... You know, I'll be honest, like, it might be too late. I hate to say it like that, but if you go on X right now, there are people that are, like, actually being dead serious, and they're posting, like, pro-Hitler stuff. And at first I was like, okay, these have to be bots, like, what's going on? But I looked at a lot of these pages, and I mean, they could be fake, but no way all of them are. There's, like, a lot of this stuff out there. So basically what I'm trying to say is it's time to see that things are actually really complicated and they're not black and white, because the more that we polarize, the more violent and crazy it's going to get. You know, this killing was a really high-impact event. People saw the footage. It's ingrained in our minds. Yeah, it's not the time to just be more radical and more crazy. Now I want to talk about an epiphany that I had yesterday talking to a friend of mine. A couple of my friends I've had like long phone calls with the past couple of days talking about this. And anyway, so if you think about Christianity, because I believe that a big reason Kirk was killed was because he was Christian. If I had to bet money, I believe that it was because he spoke out against Israel. And Israel kind of like funded his ascent and his rise and his platform. So when you make a deal with them and you're in bed with them, you probably can't do that. That's my opinion. But a big reason he was killed was because he's Christian. That's what I mean by this is like engineered, because they picked a really spiritual guy and they did something really brutal to him in front of all of us and made us watch. And if this was really a kill, like let's say if it wasn't Israel and it was like a political assassination, so someone decided, I'm going to kill this guy because I don't like his opinion. Let's just say that that's what happened for the sake of just thought experiment, because we know stuff like that does happen, even if not this one. If that was the case, then that's basically saying, I'm going to take your life for the sake of my political opinion. So I'm going to take the ultimate thing that I can take from you for a political opinion. So that used to be something that people would argue about at Thanksgiving and then go on with their lives. And in Christianity, the main motif of Christianity is sacrifice for humanity, because that's what Christ was. That's something that I'm proud of as a Christian, is that in our religion, our God gave for us. All the other gods kind of seem to want you to give them stuff. Have you noticed that? But anyway, so think about the inversion, because we know what evil satanic people do. They invert. So they take truth and they turn it completely upside down. Think about the concept of Christ consciousness, which is willing to give for humanity, even sacrifice your own life for people that hate you. And then the complete opposite of that is being willing to take someone's life for, for what exactly, So giving your own life, sacrificing yourself versus taking someone's life, giving versus taking. And I would take it a step further. I believe that on some level, the concept of a government is satanic. And that sounds really crazy, but hear me out. The reason I believe that is because what Jesus taught was the kingdom within. So the kingdom within means having a relationship with God and relying on the spiritual, not the material, for your substance. Like in the Bible, it says basically have a relationship with God and all these other things will be added unto you. So everything else will take care of itself. Maintain the kingdom within. Don't get too caught up in trying to satisfy yourself with the outside world, whether that be food, lust, drugs, like whatever comfort that you can find, stuffing your face with fast food. Like we're always trying to find this comfort, and we're looking to the kingdom that is without. So the kingdom outside of us. We're trying to go out into the kingdom that is really out there, physically, materially, and get something from it that we can never get from it. The government will never give you what you're really looking for. It's found with God. It's found with a relationship with God. So the kingdom within is antithetical to the concept of a state. Think about what I'm saying. The concept of the state or the law of men is the complete opposite of the idea of the kingdom within. Jesus said the kingdom is within. The government is saying this is the kingdom. Submit to us. And we're going to take from you. We're not going to sacrifice for you. We're going to take from you. It's the complete inversion. Jesus said the kingdom is within and I will give for you. And they say the kingdom is outside of you and we are going to take everything that we can from you. That is a perfect inversion. It's not that they're different ideas. They are perfect polarities, perfect ends of the spectrum. They are opposites. Hear the words that I'm saying. So when Jesus came and sacrificed himself, the idea was that, and I'm not a biblical scholar, so don't expect me to like really like, I mean, just, but look, part of the reason that Jesus was a sacrifice was so that we didn't have to sacrifice things ourselves. So like they used to sacrifice animals and all that kind of stuff because they say that the wages of sin is death. And I don't claim to understand these things, but it seems like after Jesus, basically we were supposed to stop that because Jesus paid the price. So through him, you get redemption. And so Jesus said, hey, you don't have to do this anymore. I am the law. Just like when he stopped the Pharisees from stoning that woman, he said, I am the law. So he is the law made flesh, and then he was a perfect sacrifice. And if you think about it, it's really eerie how like the tyrannical state, one manifestation of the tyrannical state is a corrupt enforcer. And what do they say? They say, I am the law, right? So if a corrupt cop is like doing something and you're like, that's against the law, he'll say, I am the law. That is satanic. That is a mockery of Christ, in my opinion. Tell me in the comments if you think I'm reading too much into that. But Jesus was the law. He said, I am the law, and he gave for us so that we could dwell within the kingdom that is within. And then the government wants us to dwell in the kingdom that is outside of us. And instead of giving to us, they take from us. And then they say, I am the law. Let me put my boots on your neck. I am the law. Think about that. Hear the words I'm saying, actually really think, even if you have to rewind, actually consider what I'm saying. Because like I said, these aren't just different ideas. They are perfect opposites. There are perfect parallels. It's like a mirror. It's like a reflection. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I got today. And we live in really turbulent times. Try to be there for the people that you do know. And then even when you're in public and there's strangers, like try to be nice to people right now. It's not just about what just happened with the assassination. There's a lot going on. School shootings are happening a lot. Things are just really heavy right now. You can all feel it. There's a heavy energy in there. So try to just actually be positive for other people. Give to other people, even if it's just your time and your energy. Okay, that's all I got. Peace.